Welcome to Bless Us, I'm Oscar the Saxon. My left eye is closed at the moment so as to spare you the horror of what he looks like. My eye does not approve of being closed, so every now and then I might cap a hand over it so as to open it. This is nice. I was watching a video the other day by one of my favourite Australians, Shad from Shadiversity, in which he was gearing up so as to go into the dungeon. Who was it who said dungeons are stupid or make no sense? Shad himself points out it makes a difference if you're gearing up so as to go into the dungeon, or if you're getting ready to travel from, shall we say, your hometown to said dungeon. But in both cases, I feel he is missing an extremely important item: a bag. You see, if you're going to be travelling for a couple of days, you might want to take something with you that you have at home. Well, I hope you've got it at home. Most people should. You've possibly heard about it. It's called water. A lot of people are concerned about how much food they can carry with them, but hardly anyone ever cares about how much water they've got or how much water they haven't got. And you might want to have some extra gear with you that you're not going to be wearing while travelling, but when you go into action, you want to have it there. And even if you're going into the dungeon then, you might find that even if you're going to be in there for a few hours, you'll want water with you. Or, when you're coming out, you're going to be carrying some loot and you want something to put it into. Bags are extremely important. The most important thing when going into the dungeon will be your main weapon, yes, but the second most important thing is a bag. That's my first point. Now, when travelling, you will have more than just one bottle of water and an apple with you, so you might also want a larger bag, something like a backpack. And this is going to bring me to my second point, because a lot of people in the comments were coming up with ideas how to make back straps for spears and such, and I'm going to claim that having a backpack on your back is more important than putting any weapons there. Now, Shad was more about quick draw actually than using space on his back. And here I like to point out that that's what you've got these things for. You see, that is quick draw. You don't need to be any quicker than that, and you definitely don't need to quick draw a spear, I would reckon. On the topic of spear, oh, I've got the eye open, yeah. Shad, now I'm not bashing Shad for owning foam rubber weapons. I myself do possess foam rubber weapons. Ha! So Shad takes his spear and shoves it in his belt, which helps to keep it in place. Yes, keeps you in place. But this is not comfortable and I can't really move around properly. It's in the way of my leg, or it falls over to the side. And one reason possibly why this is falling more to the side than Shad's is because of the weight proportion. As said, he's using a foam rubber spear. Mine has got a metal tip on the wood, so it's got a heavier end here than Shad's would. Doesn't really stay in place very well. And this is not just for the spear, but also for my little favourite here, the axe. Now, I think this is going to be ridiculous if I try and shove this in my belt. It falls down straight away. The same would apply if I would put this on my back. Oh, someone put a shield in the way there. If I had this on my back, first of all, with the axe head at the top, there's too much weight there. It wants to fall down. Now, I'll try and demonstrate this on the front without breaking anything. This just won't hold. This won't hold. So, no, okay, this barely holds. No, this doesn't hold. So obviously, we want it the other way around. Anyone going to design something they can put it in like that? No, I'm not going to bother with that. Also, I don't want the axe head swinging around beside my leg. This is the way I carry this axe. It's comfortable, it's practical, because, as I think I already said, it seemed to be a lot about quick draw, and I can quick draw with this. Sorry, mate. Now, the same applies for the javelins. I know, first thing, you're going to say, hang on, what is this guy doing with blue spears? These are my daughters. I took the heads off mine to repaint the shafts and I've not put them back on again. My youngest daughter's favourite colour is blue. All the same, 3 javelins here. I've got them tied up, as you can see here. This is a nice, comfortable way for carrying them. It's a question of preference. My daughter sort of carries them like that. I don't get into this. This is no way to carry them, at least not for a long time. And she thinks that this is very uncomfortable. Got our own preferences, but in both cases, we basically carry them on our shoulders. Now, why would you want to have these weapons strapped to your back when traveling? So you've got both hands free. That's the idea, isn't it? But remember, if you're traveling from hometown to dungeon or wherever, you're going to have to carry supplies. If you've got both your hands free, are you going to be carrying a basket? It makes much more sense to use the space on your back for a backpack than for weapons that you can easily carry in your hand and that you have available straight away. Now, this is actually how I gear up when I travel. When I'm taking this little guy with me, I also have a one-handed spear with me normally. These two would be tied up, so it's more convenient like that. And then the axe to this might be a little bit too heavy. But all the same, I have travelled like this for hours on end. I've already done that. This is comfortable, even though I've only got one hand free. So Shad also demonstrates that he's got a longbow and correctly tells us you do not want to string it and get it sort of over you because, to be honest, that hurts. And it's not really good for the bow anyway. When travelling, this has a leather sleeve that I put it in and it either goes on my shoulder or, since it's very light, I just carry it like this, actually no problem. And the short bow just simply goes in a bag on my back. Guess what? So, summing that up, my axe, swords, dagger, they go on my belt and they can be drawn quickly. Longer things, javelins, spears, axes, I put these on my shoulder and that is convenient and comfortable to carry. Now, there are lots and lots of sources that will tell you how many soldiers were in the Roman legions, how many men made up a centurion and so on. What hardly any of these sources point out is how many donkeys and servants were attached to each unit to carry supplies. Carrying supplies is extremely important. I don't know how well we know this to be exactly true, but practically all depictions of Roman legionnaires on the march show them with bundles, spears, everything on their shoulders. That was the way they seemed to carry their stuff. I wonder why. If we look at the modern existing Swiss Guard of the Pope, they are still trained with halberds, which they do not have any sort of back strap for. They conveniently carry it against their shoulders. If you go back about 200 years, Napoleonic era, both the British and the French infantry, also of other countries I do believe, had backpacks with all their vital gear in it. Their rifles or muskets had straps so that they could hang them over their shoulders. They would still need a hand to either hold the strap or the stock of the gun, but they did not put it across their body like this, so it's strapped behind their back firmly in place. On the shoulder, it could be used very quickly. By all means, guys, if you want to come up with some sort of design as to how this could work, I'm talking about strapping this axe comfortably and safely to your back, please do it, but don't just simply sit down and say it will work if. What I'm asking is, like Shad demonstrated with his long sword sheath for the back, construct something that works. Lastly, Shad, if you're still on your way to go and slay that dragon, please take a bag with you. I mean, the teeth alone, one tooth is already worth a fortune. If you could take 1 or 2 empty bottles with you to fill up with dragon blood, because I'm running low on that, I would be very willing to compensate you for it, of course.